I was reading a book, the Stephen King book on writing, which is a fantastic book, and he said something and it always stuck with me. Was really, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on this. Is that he's like, if you have to have the basics of grasp of the English language. So he goes, you have to understand this, this, and this, and it has to be instinctual, not because like when I'm writing, because I've been writing for a long time throughout my life, just as not even in creative, just generally, you have a kind of taste for what English is supposed to sound like and how it's supposed to be written, and basic grammar, and these are things. He goes, you need to understand this instinctually. If you're thinking about it too heavily, you need to go back to the drawing board. And I feel that with master storytellers, a lot of this is just instinctual because they've done it so many times. Like a master craftsman, like a master carpenter, like a master painter, there's certain strokes that they've done 10,000 times. Yeah. And if you try to verbalize it, it's almost impossible to verbalize.
I find that is almost always the case with really the top writers. They're very bad at verbalizing how they got there.
Right.
What I would say to a Stephen King or anyone else like that is, yeah, you're absolutely right. Once you get to that position where you're writing at that level,
sure.
But that's you don't need to analyze it too much because you've already got it as part of your second and third nature. It's already embedded in how you think. What they never talk about is, well, gee, Stephen, did you have this kind of ability when you were 6 years old and first going to school? No, you didn't. It's by the time you've gotten through all your education and you've written all these books and you've made some mistakes and you obviously have done extremely well at the same time, that entire process is a process of improving and increasing the craft. Now, he may not be one who likes to verbalize it or analyze it. That's great. That's fine. But what I would say to anybody else who is not currently writing at the level of Stephen King,
which is not many, by the way,
right? You don't have that luxury,
right?
You do not have that luxury, and that's why when in the Anatomy of Story book and the recent work I've been doing on plot, it's all about trying to give people techniques, specific, applicable techniques that you can apply to your story right now. And in doing that, you're going to master that technique so that down the road a few years, when your level of ability has gone way up, then you don't have to think, what was the name of that technique that I used?
It's in there.
Exactly.
But it's the same thing as, and I hate to use baseball analogies, but I absolutely love using baseball analogies where you might have a natural swing, and maybe when you're 15, 16, 17, you have a natural swing, but when you start getting that natural swing is not going to get you into the majors for you to be anybody of any magnitude. Yep. So slowly but surely, as you take more swings, you start getting coached. You start getting coached on technique here. There, you pick up a thing there. And then because you've been at the plate so many times, it becomes second nature. You don't even think about it. You don't analyze it. But as you're going up, you're analyzing that swing. You're watching it. You're really taking notice. But at a certain point,
you're getting feedback from that batting coach who is saying, "Hey, I noticed there's a little switch in your swing that you didn't have 2 weeks ago,
right? And
you haven't been hitting since then." And because you need that outside eye to say, "Look, that natural process, quote natural process, which is actually made up of multiple smaller techniques, somehow got out of kilter. And we got to identify that and fix it so you can get back to the natural swing."
So you're basically like a story chiropractor. You got to adjust the spine to get it back.
Get that spine, that structure working. But I use a similar analogy with basketball. I mean, if I wasn't writing and teaching writing, I would like to be a point guard in the NBA. That would be my second choice.
Sure.
Now, and I always, and this comes up when people say to me, John, I don't need to read any of these books. All I need to do is write. You know, all you have to do to write successfully is to write. Well, there's a certain truth to that, right? If you don't write anything, you're not going to write successfully because you haven't written anything.
Right.
But to think that all you have to do is write in order to write at the professional level is nonsense. It's a similar thing of saying, you know, I would like to play point guard in the NBA. All I have to do is play a lot of basketball, right? Now that's going to take me a lot of time on the playground, right? I'm going to get a lot of time playing basketball, but I'm not going to get close to the NBA because I don't have the natural ability, but much more importantly, I have not been getting extensive high-level coaching since the age I picked up the ball. Right. You know, you take a guy like a Michael Jordan or for younger people than myself, LeBron James, right? The guy is a fantastic natural talent. Sure, but the guy has been getting coaching to refine that talent for his entire life.
And practicing and adjusting and going. Yeah.
And what happens is we look at him when he plays, just as we look at a Stephen King book, and we see the polished product. We don't see the techniques, the hundreds of techniques sitting under the surface that makes it look like he's just taking a walk in the park.
Right.
It's a lot more complicated than that. And to get to that level, or to attempt to get to that level, you got to learn those techniques.
Right. And it's the same thing with like film directing. Like, you know, you look at the masters and you just go, oh my God, like you look at a Kubrick film and there's just so much density in his technique. And he literally would wait 5-7 years prepping a film. So he had everything really, or Hitchcock or these kind of guys. But there is so much work that goes into that makes it the easier it looks, the harder it was to get there.
Yeah.
Many ways.